So this is Seth and Brett testing our recording equipment, and we're going to chat a little bit about video game types that we hate. I'll let you start because I feel like we have a lot of video game types. Like we have some overlap, but I feel like it's easy to cause friction in this one because I feel like we also have some opposing ones. So you go first.
So I don't feel like there's anything redeeming about these anyways, but any game that it basically tries to coax money out of you after the initial release.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of something like, it's obviously sports games right now are super notorious for this type of thing. We're just trying to nickel and dime you out of stuff. Anytime I feel a game is like trying to suck money out of me, I'm instantly turned off. So like any sort of like gacha games on cell phone, like a lot of MMOs are like that. It's just like, give me a big chunk of a game release. If you want more money out of me, have something like the expansions and something like Dark Souls, where it's enough content that you don't feel like you're getting screwed, basically.
So that's not the exact direction I knew you were gonna go. For you, I was like any game that immediately tries to like gather mass appeal. Like just like if you can immediately feel like, but I feel like okay. So to what you're saying as far as like gathering that, I feel like what sucks is they're becoming like super, like people are apologizing for those types of games now. Like you're getting so many games. Like there's a game right now out that's supposed to be like the quote unquote, like I've heard a few titles of videos or like headlines call it the PS5's Call of Duty killer. It's like X Defiant.
Oh.
It's like and it's like free. I'm pretty sure it's free to download, and like I think you get like 2 skins, and it's super grindy to get things out of. But yeah. So this is where I think the friction is going to come in, because mine was going to be a much more similar, like broad genre wise. I feel like I'm going to have to say this and run out of the room. I cannot find a shmup that I love. I don't hate them, but I try, because okay, here's the thing, it's not just about being shmups. I guess I just don't like a game that is 100% skill based.
Yeah.
Like even Dark Souls, even Elden Ring, I can get into that because I can explore the world. If I'm getting frustrated and I'm beating my head against a wall, I can go out, I can grind, I can explore, I can get better. Yeah, this boss might be kicking my ass and I might not be getting great at it. Not be great at it, but you know what? I can get a new spell. I can get something that will really change that tide of battle. And I've never found like a really good like shmup that like isn't, because when I die I just start from the same place and I do the same thing over again, and like I feel like I don't have time for that. Like I need to, if I can't do something, and I think this is why I gravitate towards like sandbox or RPGs, is because I'm the kind of person, if I feel like I can't do, or I'm getting my butt kicked in an area, I want to go do something else. I don't want to keep having to be forced against that brick wall.
So you're a quitter.
Yeah.
Well, so, if you think about it, though, a shmup was born in the arcades where things are very skill-based, where, like, an RPG is more PC kind of based, where, you have multiple options, but there are kind of options for shmups. Like, that's why I like R-Type, especially the R-Type final games, is you unlock different ships with different loadouts. So you start out with the basic ship, and the basic ship sucks, right?
Right.
But then you can eventually unlock ships that are a little bit more powerful, and they work with like your specific play style type thing. Like specifically, if we're going to shmups, with R-Type, there are certain forces, so that your shield at the front of the ship, the little ball thing, that they will hunt out enemies.
Yeah.
So you can either have it attached to you or it's out in front of you with kind of limited AI. But if you have the specifically seeking ones, they'll kind of seek out stuff for you. And it makes the game play a lot differently, and it is easier, I guess, but
even with that, when you're playing that, so you can unlock the different ships, but you're still like, okay, let's say you're on level 5 and you're getting butt kicked on level 5. You just have to keep doing level 5 or level 4 or 3, 2. You still have to keep doing either a level you've played or because like because I remember when we were playing like back in high school when I was playing like Ocarina of Time, for example. It's a fairly linear game as far as story goes. But I remember the first place that I got stuck on was Dodongo's Cavern. Like you remember Avery. He actually beat that dungeon for me. Like he came over and he beat that dungeon for me. But before I had ever beaten that, like I was like, I'm just not going to play this anymore. And I went and I messed around. I found different grottos. I like went fishing, and I just went like, I can't do this anymore, so I'm just going to go do other stuff. Like I need a game that I just have a large variety of options of just activities that I can do. I will say the only oxymoron to that, especially not liking shmups, But this genre is just so tactile that it defeats all of that. Twin stick shooters.
Well, it's a cousin.
Yeah,
It's a
it
cousin
is.
of
It
shmup.
is. But something about the specific tactile feel of twin stick shooters, it engrosses me so much that it completely like overrides all of that dislike that I have for those type of games. I just love that it's this euphoric feel of like having this dot in the middle of the screen that you're moving around, and then like you have kind of a sweeping bullet spray around it that has this. It's like a dance, and I love how it feels.
See, I think you found a specific type of shmup that you like then, because that is kind of a subgenre of shmup. But like our type is very memorization based, where you can't just really go into it blind, and that's why you do have to play it a lot of times in a row. It's not something like Donpachi or something like that, or like I'm thinking of kind of like SNK shooters where it's just super twitchy, just crap all over the screen. You know, it's not necessarily like every single enemy placement in R type is always the same, basically. So you have to find basically a route through the level. So yeah, it's just that, and that's what I like. R type is my favorite shmup, and I like other ones, but like that's the one I really like. So I get it.
And I think too, like I shmup specifically, and bullet hells even. I don't have anything against that specific genre, because like there are sections like Nier Automata and like the original Nier. There are bullet hell sections of those games, and they're some of the best parts of that game. I love mechanically a bullet hell, but I like to do it for 10 to 15 minutes and then move on to something else. I do mechanically like a bullet hell. But yeah, I just don't like a game that revolves around that one mechanic that I'm just kind of beating my head against the wall. Or even if I'm winning, just kind of like doing the same thing over again, just escalating difficulties.